Okay, let's talk about that one forgotten spot. You know the one I mean, that little patch of concrete or sad-looking mulch right by the back door. What if I told you that spot is probably the most valuable real estate you have? Seriously, we're going to talk about how to transform it from completely overlooked to absolutely indispensable, creating a living pantry you can get to in like 5 seconds.
I mean, just to look at this. On the left, yeah, that's the wasted space we all know, and, well, we know it. It's not doing anything for anybody. But then look at the right. That is a Doorstep herb guild. It's the exact same spot, but now it's just bursting with life and flavor and purpose. The difference is just incredible, right? And the best part? It is so much easier to create than you think. So, what is the single biggest secret to having a kitchen garden that you will actually use? It's not about having the perfect soil or tracking down the rarest herbs. Nope, it all comes down to one super simple idea, what I like to call the slippers test. This right here, this says it all. Just think about it for a second. You're in the middle of making dinner, the sauce is bubbling away, and you realize you need a sprig of fresh rosemary. Are you really going to stop, put on shoes, and hike out to the far corner of the yard? Of course not. But if it's right there, just outside the door, close enough to grab while you're still in your slippers, well, that changes the whole game. Convenience is everything.
Okay, so let's get practical. The very first step is to identify your prime real estate. We're going to find what permaculture folks call Zone 1.
So Zone 1 is just a simple way of describing the area you interact with the most. It's that path from your kitchen door to the garage, or that little patio right off the living room. When you put your herb guild here, it means you see it every single day. It's always within reach, which makes it almost effortless to take care of and, more importantly, to grab stuff from.
So when you're looking for your Zone 1, what do you need? It's a really simple checklist. First, you've got to have some sun. 4 to 6 hours is a great starting point for most herbs. Second, think about the shape. It doesn't have to be a big deal. A narrow bed, a simple half circle, or even just a tight cluster of pots can work wonders. And here's a super important tip. Make sure you can reach every single plant without having to step into the garden bed. That makes harvesting just a total breeze.
All right, once you've picked your perfect spot, it is time for the fun part, bringing this whole thing to life. We're going to shape the space, get the soil ready, and then plant our herbs in really smart, strategic layers. And listen, this does not have to be some huge weekend project. If you're planting right in the ground, all you have to do is loosen up the top 8 inches or so of soil and mix in some good compost. If you're on a patio, it's even easier. Just group 3 to 5 big pots together to create your own little ecosystem. A 3 to 5 foot wide area is kind of the sweet spot. It's big enough to be really useful, but small enough to be super easy to manage.
Okay, let's build our guild layer by layer. We're going to start at the back, right up against the wall or the fence. This is where we put our structural backbone, the woody, sun-loving herbs that are pretty tough, like rosemary and sage. They give the whole thing some height and really form the foundation of our little system.
Now for the middle layer. This is where we plant our culinary workhorses. You know, the lush, leafy herbs we're going to be snipping from all the time. Think basil, parsley, cilantro. These guys tend to be a little thirstier, so planting them in the middle protects them a bit and helps them get the water they need.
And finally, we get to the edge. This is where we put low-growing herbs like creeping thyme or maybe some flowers like calendula. They do 2 amazing things at once. First, they spill over and soften the hard edges of the concrete or the pots, which looks beautiful. And second, they're like a giant welcome mat for pollinators, inviting bees and other beneficial insects right into your garden.
So you see, a guild isn't just a random bunch of plants. Each one has a specific job. You've got your culinary workhorses that you're grabbing for dinner every night. You've got the aromatic herbs like rosemary that actually help keep pests away. And you've got these insectary flowers that attract the good guys, the pollinators and predators that keep your whole garden healthy. It's a tiny team and they all work together. So now that it's all planted, how do you keep this thing going? Well, the maintenance is beautifully simple. In fact, it's actually built right into how you use the garden.
A light layer of mulch is great for keeping the soil from drying out too fast. But honestly, the most important tip is to harvest often. Seriously, snipping your herbs regularly encourages them to grow back even bushier and more compact. So the more you eat, the better they grow. It's a perfect system. And hey, don't be afraid to let some plants, like your cilantro or basil, go to flower. The bees will absolutely love you for it.
And the payoff here is almost immediate. You can literally clear your space, prep it, and plant your whole guild in a single afternoon. And then, within maybe 2 weeks, you'll be making your first harvest for the kitchen. From there on out, you've got fresh herbs and beautiful flowers right at your fingertips, all season long. So when you finally step back and you look at what you've created in that little spot, you'll realize it's so much more than just a garden. It's a living, breathing, delicious extension of your kitchen pantry.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This is the simple principle that makes it all work. By putting all that fresh flavor right within arm's reach, you just eliminate the barrier between your garden and your plate. And you're going to find yourself using fresh herbs in everything, completely transforming your everyday cooking.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question. I want you to go take a look outside your back door, right now. What forgotten corner, what empty patch of concrete, what boring cluster of pots could you transform? Where could you build your own living pantry?